All right, thanks. Yeah, so we're going to cover automated remediations. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so to get to automated remediations, let's go down to, in the admin section, we're going to go down to RMM settings and automated remediations. And I have a few already made we can go through. So let me open this up to kind of explain what automated remediations do. So automated remediations, they're triggered by an RMM alert. That's what takes to start the process. Things like ticket statuses, they don't work here. That'd be ticket automations. These only apply to RMM alerts. And there's one quick gotcha that I see tickets come in a lot when people say their automated remediations aren't working. These only work for new RMM alerts. So if you have an existing alert and then you set up an automation and it gets triggered again, it just updates the existing alert, that won't trigger this automated remediation. You need to clear that alert out. That way a new one can be created to trigger it. It's just a way to prevent getting spammed, like with your automated remediations, getting triggered every time the alert triggered. It only works for new alerts. So this example here, it's the trigger category is Bitdefender. So here you can select all your different filters for your RMM alerts. So for this one, I have a Bitdefender integration. If I get RMM alert that malware or something was detected, I can have that as the condition, and the actions down here, this is what happens when an alert meets these conditions. And right now I'm just going to convert this to a ticket, and then I'm going to clear the alert. That way, the next time I get RMM alert for Bitdefender for that machine, I get the automated remediation runs again. And if I wanted to, you can even filter this further. Let's say I have a certain policy people are on, and my mouse just died, the battery died. Let's say I have a policy that people, I want them to get a faster response. I can come here and I can say asset, nope, that's not right. The asset policy, I'm using my trackpad now because my mouse died. And I could pick a certain policy. So maybe there's like a plan people are on, they get faster response time or something. So I could say, if it's a Bitdefender alert and they're on this certain policy, then I can create a ticket automatically as soon as the RMM alert's created. That's one example. So let's back out here. And then you can get a little more complicated here. So this one, we have alerts to set up if you're you need to defrag your hard drive. So I have one here that's the trigger category. And if it's the C drive that needs to be defragged, so this one is searching the alert body for the dimension of the C drive. And here I can come down and I can run scripts too as an action. So this one is running a script to actually defrag the drive. So this is alerting, saying, hey, this drive needs to be defragmented. And this one says the script's running it. And the variable for the drive is C. That's why I need to know that the drive that needs to be worked on is the C drive. That way I can put it down here. So if I had multiple drives I'm monitoring, I could put different automated remediations with different drive letters to run. And you can create a ticket like you saw in the previous one. But you can also run a script. When you create a ticket here, it's pretty basic. You just create a ticket. But scripting, you can do more. So with this, I'm running a script to create a ticket, but it's creating a ticket with fully that's processing billable time also. So this whole thing, whenever a drive needs to be defragged, the RMM alert will come through. It'll run the script to actually do the defragging, and then it'll run a script to create a ticket. Here I just added 15 minutes of billable time, and then just put some notes on the ticket, and then it'll clear the alert so it runs again next time the drive needs to be defragged. And all this will be done just automatically. You don't have to worry about it. And then in this example, this RMM alert comes from a script. So with scripts, you can create RMM alerts inside of the script. You can make any RMM alert you want. so this a little different than the other examples. We have a script in the community library. It's called temp prober. So it probes the your CPU temp for machines. So you could run this. Let's say you had some servers you want to keep track of, make sure they're not getting too hot. You could make put the script on a policy to run on, like, let's say you have a server policy. You can have this script running on that server policy every hour, every 15 minutes, however often you want. And when you set the temperature thresholds. When you beat one, you want to be alerted. So in this example, you got an alert because the CPU is too hot. So the category is CPU temp alert. If you go here, the custom scripts, these are all the Rmm alerts that are created from scripts that you have. So you just pick it there. And this one, I post to Microsoft Teams. You could also do Slack. You could also email the technician directly. And then I also have, you could also send a text message either to the customer or to any number you want. So for this example, I have it, let's say it's like you want to send directly to you, so you know that this server is getting too hot, so you can do something about it right away. And you can also use asset tags. So for this example, it'll tell you the asset that's having the problem and actually a link to the ticket that's created. That's funny, I didn't even create a ticket in here. Let's say you created a ticket, let's pretend. You have a link to that ticket. And here's all the asset tags you can use to customize information in your alerts and messages. I do have a ticket right down here. And then I have a ticket going on here. And one more example. So we have our process and service monitoring. This will also create Rmm alerts. So here's another example of how you can use automated remediation. So let's view this monitor. So here, this one will monitor Notepad. I just picked a random one. Let's say, so Notepad, if it's running, it'll just kill that process. And then you can generate automated remediation based on this also. So for example, let's say this company, they have a weird policy and they just don't want Notepad running on a computer for whatever reason. Notepad could be changed out with whatever process you want. I have it running a script, and it'll actually send a broadcast message to that computer telling them not to be using Notepad, and also log activity on that asset in the recent activity area that someone tried to use Notepad. And then you can email maybe the manager at that company, let them know their employee was running something, or you could email yourself. Again, you have all these actions you can do. And here's like, am I logging activity twice? Yes. But as example, you could, other scripting, you can also log activity. Let's say you just want to, every time an Rmm alert happens, you want to clear it, but you want to record the activity on your asset. You can also run this kind of script to log activity. And again, I clear the alert. So I just wanted to go over just the different types of Rmm alerts that can be triggered, like the source to Rmm alerts. They could be from scripts, they could be from process monitors, they could be from policies, and then there's just a whole host of actions that can run based on those Rmm alerts. And even since the scripting engine's tied into it, you can really do a lot with these automated remediations. So yeah, that's about it. And if anyone has any questions, we can get to those now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. That was amazing. It's funny because normally by this point we have tons of questions. I think you had the attention of every single person. So no, everyone was taking notes instead of answering their questions. But if you do have anything in regards to automated remediations or anything that is unrelated, feel free to start popping those in the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and start answering those. It looks like there might be a couple questions in here specific to automated remediations. Frank, if you know any of those and want to grab those.
Sure, I'll just read those right now. Okay, John says getting a lot of defrag alerts. Yeah, you can write a PowerShell script. I think I just found one online and got it into our scripting engine and got all the variables right for it. So you can have that run automatically every time that alert comes in. That way you don't have to actually connect to that machine and run it manually or remote in. Which one for multiple defrag? And you have another question here, John. I'm guessing you mean like for different drives? For this, the only way I can see how to do it is to make a separate remediation for each drive, because in the script you have to specify the drive letter. So you have to say if an alert came in because like your D drive needed to be defragged, then you'd have to have the script use the D drive, and there's not a way to carry that value over. So you just have to make different automated remediations for each drive, unfortunately. Steve said, what was the option to only use a new alert? That's just the default. Automated remediations will only run on new alerts. So that's just the normal setting. There's no way to change that. So there's no setting or option you have to worry about for that. All the questions just came in. Just trying to read them all.
I know, I was going to say, sorry, Frank, these are mostly related to automated remediations, or we would start grabbing some.
No worries.
I will say, Michael has a really good suggestion. So it would be nice to have a few best practices of automated remediations and Syncro out of the box so we don't have to start from scratch. I totally agree. I think this is a really great suggestion. It is something that I think as a sales team, this would be like my #1 feature request is to have more libraries. But we do have a really awesome Facebook group. I know not everyone is in Facebook. We do now have a subreddit too. We can drop the links for both of those. Honestly, I've seen people share. I know you will still have to actually put it in the system, but I have seen people ask for examples, things that they use day to day and best practices. And people are sharing scripts and automated remediations and system tray menus and things like that. And that's a really great place to ask people. You can probably just go back into the group and search for examples and grab some yourself. So I've seen our community is awesome. And if you're not part of those group, whether you're on a trial, you're a customer, you're not on a trial, anything, you can absolutely join those groups. It's a great place to connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandy. I'll grab this one at the top from Charlie as well. His question is on the topic of Bitdefender and antivirus. I recently got an alert, managed antivirus from MCSoft recently, found a quarantine 1 threat type on this device and have received similar for Bitdefender. Do we have to go on those computers and remove the quarantine item, or can that be done through scripting? So I'm going to share my screen real quick and I'm going to show you guys. I'll get a little bit more clarity from our technical support team as well to see if we can have, if there are scripts built into the community script library for you to remove those from quarantine, or if you need to go directly to the Bitdefender Gravity Zone portal or the MCSoft portal. So if I can share my screen, I'm not sure who's sharing now. I think it may be you, Brandy. Otherwise, I won't be able to share it. There we go. Thank you so much. Don't know who it was, but thank you for letting me share. So here, if again, through the Syncro side, for those of you that don't know, if you head over to your policies, this is where you enable your Bitdefender and your MCSoft. I recommend keeping them on separate policies so they don't run against each other. But again, from the Syncro side, what the antivirus integration allows you to do is to easily deploy. So on any policy that you open, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you can say, yep, enable Bitdefender. And then again, once you have deployed Bitdefender or MCSoft, you have the ability to that asset will pop up, for example, in the Bitdefender Gravity Zone portal or through the MCSoft portal. Again, another benefit of using those these through Syncro is, yes, you will have alerts filtering in. Also, if you tab over to the asset tab, you will see that more details of what is actually being shown through MCSoft. I'll show you that quick example as well. So real quick, I'll show you one of the automated remediations that I do have set up that if you do have those alerts filtering into Syncro, you would be able to say in response to it to or convert these alerts into a ticket and let the customer know that, hey, we've taken care of this for you. And then so you don't have to manually create a ticket, and it keeps kind of a record of what alerts have been coming in for that specific device for the specific customer based on these trigger categories here. So that is what I would recommend. Again, I'll get a little bit more clarity from our team, or if Frank has a chance to, if those alerts come in, do you need to run a script in response, or if you need to go specifically to Bitdefender or specifically to MCSoft to further resolve those. So one last thing real quick is if you go over to your assets and click into an endpoint, again, if you're using MCSoft or Bitdefender or WebRoot through Syncro, and you tab over to the antivirus tab, you'll see that it'll say Syncro Managed Antivirus. You'll see the recent scans if it's through MCSoft, and you'll see kind of the different versions and things like that. So that's definitely another benefit there for you guys.
I have a few more here. Dave says that HP server running Microsoft Server 2019 Hyper-V, and Syncro shows the machine as a VM, not HP. All the information we get from WMI calls to Windows. So if that's what Windows is giving us, there's not really much we can do to change that. The only other way would be to maybe set up a custom asset, an asset custom field, and just manually put in the other information so you can keep track of that. And how can we monitor temperature and hardware? In the policy for hardware, we do have alerts for device manager issues. So if a piece of hardware on the machine is having issues, an RMM alert will be created. And then for temperature, the temp prober in the community library, that script, that'll keep track of the temperature. But you would need to use that script for that. We don't have anything like natively built in to keep track of the temperature. And Jeremy said, can you put asset tags into BCC? There are tags for client, assign customer contact, assign tech, etc. Sure. And I think this is still referring to the automated remediations. Let me share my screen real quick. Yeah, so down here are all the tags that are available, and these can be used anywhere in here. One thing that isn't here is there's not really much customer information tags, just asset information, and then like tech ticket information. But anything that's available here, you can use in these fields here. So I think things like the client information you're asking about, those aren't included. But so you have to like kind of look through this kind of big list of tags that are available, and those you can use those. And was that all that I picked? I think so.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Frank. I've got a couple in here. Dave, nice to see you today. Can you explain system checks, how it works, and can it be used with automated remediation? So excellent question. I'm just going to share my screen real quickly, and I have a device detail page pulled up here. So system checks. You can just come in here, you can create a new check. You can choose if it's going to be a ping or a web server check. Enter the name, the remote host information here, and then you can have it check every so often, notify and rearm, and this would give you an RMM alert. Now, this is not going to be used with automated remediations, to my knowledge, unless Frank knows something that I don't, but this is going to be separate. And I might have a couple others in here. So Chris, I actually just dropped in the chat box some existing OID recipes. One of our users actually made this and added some on there. So I went ahead and dropped that in the chat box for you. And then I've got one more in here from Aaron. Nice to see you today. So can you have an automated remediation run multiple times in the same action? So example, if a server's offline, can you have it text me, then wait 5 minutes, text me again, wait 5 minutes, text the client? Not currently, you can't have like one action call and another, but really great suggestion.
Thank you, Brandy. Rob has a question. Is there a way to be emailed if an estimate is approved? Also, can we see when someone viewed the estimate? So I'll just share my screen here. And I am here in the admin section, and then we're under the notification center, and I'm in a new notification set. You can come in here and edit your notifications. We have everything from email, SMS, InMap notifications, mobile push, webhook, and Microsoft Teams integration. And then you're going to see here all of the notifications for an estimate. So if an estimate that you created is approved or declined, you can get an email for that. Or generally, if an estimate is approved or declined, an estimate was emailed to the customer, the estimate email was replied to, or the estimate is approved or declined in the portal. Hopefully that helps. I don't believe that you can actually see if it was just viewed. It would need to be either replied to or approved or declined.
Okay, I have a couple more here. For the system checks, I just want to jump on that real quick. So I have my test account, I have set up to where when a system check is triggered, you can have that set off an automated remediation also. Whatever the system check, so you'd have to have a like a specific name for each system check, and then you can use that as the trigger. So trigger.
I was just gonna say, someone said that they used their alert body
alert
as
body,
the text. Yep. So my bad on that one.
And then let's see. Is there a script and library to differentiate between hard drive and SSD so that we can trim rather than defrag SSD? Or was it be done automatically like the Windows 10 optimization section? That's from Andy. I haven't seen that script and I haven't really dove into that. So I don't think it's in the library, but it still might be something that can be script. I'm just not sure. I haven't tried yet to trim an SSD with a PowerShell script.
Well, I'll go ahead and grab a couple in here. So Derek is asking for alerts based on device manager. Is there a way to automatically clear USB related errors? So in terms of, let me just pull up the alerts here. The closest thing we have to that is you can go into your open Rmm Alerts, and then if you want, if there's like a certain error that you're receiving, like I can come out to the left and I could mute this for any given amount of time. So like if you want to mute this for forever, you can. If you want to say, okay, for 2 weeks, let's just go ahead and mute it on this device or all devices, you could do it here. So you'll go into the alerts to do that. And then I had one more question in here. So Steve is asking, is there an audit log in Syncro? I'd like to see details when status is changed, etc. So there's going to be, if I just open up a ticket here, and hopefully I have it, I pull up a ticket that the status has been changed in here. If not, we can do it. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom and you view the history here, it will show you the change log. So it'll tell you which employee did it, which technician, and what change was made here. So you can view that.
Super helpful. Thank you so much, Brandy. I have a couple questions in here. The first one is, we use Bitdefender for all our policies and we deploy the same policy for both servers and PCs. Is that okay that they have the same version of Bitdefender, or is there a separate one for servers? So yes, same version is totally fine. You are good to go there. And then the second question I have here is, when assigning a ticket to another tech, where or how does it notify the new tech assigned? Do we have to create a ticket automation first? No, you do not. This is actually super simple to take care of, just right in your notification center. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and I'll show you guys. If you go to your admin section, and that's going to be under more, all the way down at the bottom, admin. And if you take a look in the notification center, you can build multiple different types of notification sets. So you can have one for your admins, one for your bookkeeper, one for your techs. Again, this is where you're choosing how you want to be alerted on the things that are the most important to you. So I'll show you this top one here. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that a ticket, you can say, if a ticket was assigned to me, then I want to be alerted in this way. So you can choose between email, SMS, in-app notify, mobile push, webhook, which will post to Slack or through Zapier if you want, and then Microsoft Teams. So again, in here you can say ticket was assigned to me. I'm not seeing it right here, this one. Just make sure you select how you want to be alerted about that, and then the tech will get it, and you don't have to set up any type of automations outside of that.
Well, I have a couple more, and it's the last two. So if you have any other questions, please send them in. from Anonymous. Actually see your ticket here in our ticketing system too, but I'll keep your secret safe. I'll leave you anonymous. Is there a way to auto-populate a custom asset field with information retrieved from Snmp polling? On a firewall, yeah. So we have an Snmp section, but I'm guessing you want it in a custom asset field, like you said, for reporting. There's no way to do it in like natively in on the platform, but we do have. This might be a little tricky to script. We do have an Snmp walk script that will grab all the OIDs and import to a CSV. So you'd have to probably import that out to CSV and then pull like whatever OID you want out and into a variable and put that variable in the custom asset field and store it that way. So I think it is possible. It would just take some like a little while to figure that script out. Unless you're much better than scripting than me, you could probably throw it together, but it would take me a while at least. And I have one more. Aaron asked about automated remediations. Let's say it has a limit on them, so only runs every so often. And if more alerts come in, then those won't have remediation run on them. So they will be left open instead of being closed out. And would it break it until they're manually cleared out? Yes, those would still have to be manually closed before the automation ran again. So if you have a limit on there and then that limit causes some alerts to be not closed, those would have to be closed before the automation could run.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank. You being here is so awesome, answering all these questions. Tristan has a question. Is there any way to reply to a ticket via email? And so I'm just going to show a couple of things. So when you're inside a ticket itself, there is a communications box here where you can be emailing back and forth with your client straight from the ticket. You can enable SMS text messaging as well. Private notes are going to be internal notes for you, and then public notes would be visible on a customer portal as well as attached to an invoice as a public note for your client to see. But emailing straight from the ticket is super easy, and then when they reply, the replies will come back through. Also just want to point out being able to set up your mailboxes. I'm here in the admin section, and then at the end is going to be your mailboxes where you can set up inbound emails. When you edit these, this is where you can create tickets straight from emails themselves. And then you can set up your autoresponders. If you want to create your own autoresponder for leads and tickets, that can be done here. You can also enable different ones for after hours.
Thanks, Hannah. Heidi has a question about expense reporting. So you will need to do your expense reporting in like mileage reimbursement and things like that in your accounting software. Likely that's where typically people will do expense reporting. There's no place inside of Syncro for that, or if you're using a third-party tool.
I'll grab this one from Simon. He says, can you convert an email that is not monitored by the system to a ticket? So you're saying if somebody new emails you that is not a current customer, if this is what I'm assuming is you're asking if somebody who is not a current customer emails you, can that create a ticket? And yes, it can. It's going to be here in the admin section. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you set up your mailboxes, which Hannah was just showing, and you say in this specific mailbox, if somebody emails me support@mycompany.com or anything else like that, you could say, yes, I want tickets to be created always. So from anyone, not just from my current existing customers, but for anyone. That is the setting that would enable that for you.
All right. Dave had a question about system checks. It says, does the agent ping other devices or does Syncro directly ping it? And can it ping other devices on the customer's network? So the agent pings the devices. So any IP or host that that local machine has access to, you can ping. So it could be like any device really that you can ping. It doesn't have to be another Syncro device. And that happens locally on the LAN. So even if it's behind a firewall and you can't access for the internet, that Syncro device should be able to because it's on the same network. And that'll send information back to Syncro. So yeah, so you can ping any local device with the system checks.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank. I have a follow-up clarity question from Simon. Thank you for sending that in. He says, I mean, if they send it to my personal email address, yes, that is still available. What you would do is set up a separate mailbox for that. So if your regular help@yourcompany.com is where all of your customers email you, but then you have one customer or a new employee or someone else that emails you like your name at yourcompany.com, I would set up just a separate mailbox for that, and then just make sure, because you can have as many inbound email addresses as you want within Syncro. And so just set up like your name at yourcompany.com or whatever you want this email address to be, set up the forwarding in from that email address into Syncro, and then say, yes, always create a ticket based off of that. And that is how you would handle it.
Thanks, Tatiana. Question from Charlie. So yes, no worries. We absolutely have time to share this with you. So he's speaking about adding time into a ticket created from an alert. So if you head over into your automated remediations, there's going to be a couple different places. One is in scripting. You have a PowerShell module down here. So any of the scripts that you want to edit or are your own, you can add this string. This will actually log time into a ticket for you. And then using like your automated remediations, you could have, you know, okay, device has low hard drive space. Let's go ahead and convert it into a ticket. And then, and I'm not covering this as amazing as Frank did, but just giving you a quick rundown. But I could be running a script and my clean temp file script could have had, I could have edited it to add that 30 minutes of time. So then you're adding time based on an alert here. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. I have a quick update for Simon from Garrett. I love this. When you guys join and also help each other out and help us answer questions, this is super beneficial. And again, one of the huge benefits of joining Aside. So thank you so much for that. Garrett says, Simon, long-term customers email me directly all the time. I just use a redirect from my email client to my RSM box email for Syncro, and it looks like they sent it to Syncro directly. So thank you so much, Garrett. I'm going to copy paste this into the chat box for everybody else to see if you guys want. And that's it for me.
Okay, I'll go next. One from Carl. They're coming from a PSA that reads all their O365 mailbox and populates the tickets from there instead of just forwarding them in. Any plans for Syncro? None that I know of, but I think that's a good feature request to submit, and I'd be happy to submit that request for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank. Let's see here. Question from Chris. Can you create dashboards or views showing specific status and monitored values? Example, a listing servers with status of specific listed Windows services and or running processes. So we don't have like a custom dashboard that you can create, but I do want to just show in assets in RMM, and I think a lot of people miss this section. I know this isn't directly answering your question. The short answer is no, you can't create like a custom dashboard here, but the different views that you can see here are based on like I could view a certain saved asset search, and then I would be able to get a rundown of the systems here. Saved asset searches are really great, and you can use these to filter by specific installed application. You could do a certain custom field. You're also able to do this like based on a policy, any property conditions. With these groups, you can view this differently. You could also select these in mass and send a broadcast message across their screen. You're able to change the customer. You can change the policy. I could run a script on this group. You could also bill dynamically. Like if I wanted to see every single device that had Google Chrome installed and charge them $5, I could do that. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with these saved searches. And again, just view their alerts here.
Awesome. Awesome. I have a question here from Anonymous. The question is, are we looking to set up a way? We are looking to set up a way for our customers to submit tickets through text. Would Syncro be able to detect the customer using their mobile number? So at this time, the SMS that's currently built into Syncro will not, if they text you, it will not generate a ticket. If you want to use that, you could use our integration with Twilio. And this one is, again, separate from our built-in SMS capabilities, but this just offers you just a lot more depth and breadth for ticketing capability, ticketing capabilities. You can send SMS updates for appointment reminders, things like that. So I would use Twilio for that. You can even set up your own SMS number. And so I'll drop the KB for Twilio in the chat box for you.
I think there's a couple others in there, Tatiana. I'm not sure if you answered them. I just see your name on there.
Yeah, for this one from Fuzi, I'll read it out loud. I think the best kind of course moving forward from here would be either to ask in our Syncro subreddit or in the Facebook group. His question is, we are looking for best practices to do maintenance, system optimization, and updates. Not sure if the scripts are running correctly. I know it's kind of a broad question. So definitely for something like this, reaching out to the Syncro community would probably be the best bet, because you can go more in depth. You can provide screenshots of what you're looking for. And it's Facebook. People will tell you what they think, and our community is phenomenal, and they will help if they're able to. So definitely, if you have specific use case scenarios that you're looking for, please do reach out. And I think you are already part of that group. If not, for everyone else, we'll drop that into the chat box for you guys. And then the other question I had here from Heidi, question is, can we set default labor rate labor product by technician? This is a super highly requested feature. I'll show you a couple workarounds for it though. She says, so that when entering time, it defaults to our normal business hours rate without the ability to adjust it after hours. So definitely, I think there's a couple feature requests wrapped into one here for you. So first things first is, if you are trying to specify per customer pricing, I would take a look in the contracts section within Syncro. Again, it won't perfectly accomplish your goal of setting a labor rate on a tech per tech basis, but you can set a labor product and a labor price on a customer per customer basis. So if you haven't seen this yet in the contract section, you could say, for this specific customer, Larry, he's paying on an all-you-can-eat type of model. I charge him $200 an endpoint, whatever the number is. So for my labor, I'm actually billing him $0 per hour, since I'm collecting that lump sum per endpoint per month upfront. So I would say for labor is $0 per hour, and then I actually do charge extra for going on site. So that would remain here. Again, if you're offering any types of discounts, or if you're upcharging for a product or service, you can use this per contract or per customer pricing contract override here, instead of having to create a brand new product and service for every single product for every single customer, if that makes sense. The other thing I wanted to show here too is, you do have a product block list. Again, this goes part of to your second half of your question. If you can block a labor rate from being selected if it's after hours, like they have to use the after hours one, versus during business hours it's the regular one. Unfortunately, there isn't that capability. We do have a product block list where you can completely just remove any type of ability to add, for example, residential labor. If this is a business customer, you don't ever want your techs to click that. So that will completely remove it from that option to select from on the ticket. So hopefully that helps put you in the right direction, and I'll definitely pass along those requests for you.
Thanks, Tatiana. I've got a couple here. So first of all, Robert, if we have clients that have an MSP contract with us that include a certain number of hours per month, is there a way to keep track of each call so we can bill against the contract? Also, can we have a customer email us with issues and have that deduct from contract hours by creating a ticket? So let me just pop open my screen here for you. The way is to go ahead and deduct the hours, which, by the way, you can absolutely use prepaid hours. Tatiana did a really nice overview on our deep dive on prepaid hours in a previous open office hours section that we can drop in the chat box for you. But inside of a ticket, there's going to be quite a few different ways to log the time. It is important to note that the time is not going to be deducted from their prepaid hours until it's physically invoiced. So it does need to be invoiced. But you can log your time quite a few ways. If you do want to enter a call, what I typically use, unless you are using like the free PBX integration, You can use the communication section. So you could even just make a private note and say a phone call with Brandy, and you can log your time spent right here and create a private note. When you go to invoice, then that 30 minutes will be deducted. So that would be a way to do so. If they email you, it's not going to automatically deduct time unless you're actually logging that in a ticket and invoicing the customer. So want to make sure that I'm clear there. And then Corey, great question with the saved asset searches that we create in our portal. Will that become available for all of our techs? Yes. So that's going to be global when you do create those saved asset searches. And Chris, great question. Can policies be applied to devices automatically on discovery, or must they be specifically assigned to the device? So they are going to be assigned when you install Syncro on a device. You are going to choose a policy. But what I like to show here is, and that's, we don't have like a discovery tool, but on a customer, like if I'm going to install the agent, I am going to choose which policy right here. Another place that you're going to do that is inside of a ticket. Since we don't charge per endpoint, the beauty of that is you can send agent installer links in a ticket too. So you do need to specify which policy. Now, sometimes people like to just have it assign a basic policy that doesn't have monitoring or something that every device is going to have. And then later on, if you would like to, you're actually able to select them in mass, and you'd be able to change a policy in bulk if you wanted to do that too.
Okay, I have a couple here. Let me find this one question real quick. Does your Windows Update patching lock out the user and local apps from executing Windows Update on a managed computer, so only Syncro controls Windows updates? That's dependent on the Windows OS that's being used. You have to play by their rules. So, so for Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 and 2012, it will change the registry changes we make. It disables Windows from auto updating, and it blocks the users from installing updates. But for Windows 10 Professional and Windows Server 2016, a message will say some settings are managed by your organization when they try to look at the updates, but they can go in there and manually push Windows updates if they want to. And then I have one from Heidi here. This is a complete commandlet list in the Syncro module published. Yes, let me show you real quick. It's basically on every script page, there's a quick help, and those are all of the commandlets we have. I'm like stalling because I'm waiting for my page to load before I share my screen. Here we go. Yes, when you make a script at the bottom here, these are all the commandlets we have. So this is a complete list here.
Awesome. Tristan has a question. Syncro sends alerts to my email. I'd like to reply to that email on the go and have it update the ticket/customer. So one of the ways you could do that, depending on the alert, is actually through automated remediation, which everyone has gone over here. And so being able to, from particular alerts, have Syncro go ahead and create tickets for you, or even add comments to your ticket. So even in the PowerShell help that Frank just showed, that there are some options there. Syncro also has a mobile app, and so if you want to utilize the mobile app to update tickets when alerts come through, you are able to do that as well.
I'll grab this one from Steven. I actually am not 100% sure. I don't think this exists. His question is there a keyboard to create a new ticket? I think he meant keyboard shortcut. I don't know of one, but I'm asking our team and see if I have an update. I'll let you know.
A couple more. This one's from Andy. I have web root account for Syncro. It's all fully integrated into Syncro. Originally I had web root alerts emailed to me, but it would be nice to have those alerts sent to Syncro. Is there a way to do this? That's probably integration. I believe it should work. So if it's not working, could you send in a support ticket that we can look into this more? We might have to dig in a little bit deeper and see why those alerts aren't coming through. And Net, what what is the best way to handle automated scheduled reboots for machines with reboots pending? So the reboots pending, we read some flags in the Windows registry to see if Windows wants to reboot. Most of the time that comes from Windows updates. So for your Windows patching policies, you can make those updates, or make those reboots happen. We can tell if the update required a reboot, and then there's a few different options to reboot after the updates are installed. You just forcefully do it. You can make a prompt and just ask your user to do it when they have a chance. And then the other option is to make a prompt letting them know it's going to happen and then set a time for it to reboot. Other than that, you can do a PowerShell script to kind of like, you can, if you want to get even more complicated, like a scheduled PowerShell script to check those areas in the registry to see if there's a reboot needed. And then if there is, to run the command to reboot the machine. That's also another way to do it. But I think handling it at the patching policy level would be easier to handle all that instead of having to like make a really complicated script.
I want to mention one thing real quick. I know we're starting to slow down with questions, and I want to make sure that you guys have time to grab this link beforehand, but you may have received an email this week. We just really recently launched our new referral program. So we know a lot of you guys have come to Syncro from a friend recommending you, and maybe you've recommended friends as well. We just wanted to come out with a way to thank you guys. So I'm going to drop the checks. The great thing is you don't have to be a trial user. You don't have to be a paid customer to refer someone. It's a great way to make some money and to spread the Syncro love with a friend. So I'm going to drop that in the chat box for you guys. You can register. It just takes a couple seconds to register. You could post it on your LinkedIn. You can post it in reply to someone on Reddit, anything like that. But again, we thank you guys for referring your friends, and for those of you who have been here because of a friend. I knew this was coming, but you can't backdate the referrals, but we do appreciate any in the future. I knew that question was going to be coming. And then Robert, we don't have an update for the managed backup. I know it looks like a couple of people have asked actually. Any day now, honestly, we want to apologize for giving a date. This is oftentimes why we don't like to give a date when releasing features and why we don't have a public roadmap. So it is any day, and we do apologize about that, but it's coming, I promise.
I'll grab this one from Fuzi. Question is, I know there is a way in Syncro to save, for example, notes, password IP addresses, either per asset or per client. Thanks, you guys rock. Thank you. You rock. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to share my screen. I think what you're asking about is the documentation center, perhaps. So I'll show that really quickly, because that would be the only way, other than creating custom fields on a customer level, on a ticket level, or on an asset level. If you're looking to just a general repository of information and things that are important to you that you want to keep track of, I would use the documentation center. So if you guys have not seen this yet, again, it comes organically built in, doesn't cost anything extra. And this is where you would build the documentation that's either internal for only you and your text to see. You can make something available via all customer portals, something like here's our holiday schedule, something like that. Or you can also make it available to just one customer, maybe like an employee directory, something like that. So again, if you make it available via the portal, they will have access to that. You can also build templates and then kind of quickly apply those templates to new documentation that you're using as well. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I'll take Charlie's question here. Sorry if my audio is different. I switched to my laptop microphone because my mouse battery died and now my headphones battery died. So I am not doing that well this morning, but we'll fix that later.
You're doing great.
So my laptop battery is okay, so we can keep going. So it says one of the most common alerts is Syncro detect the firewall is disabled, and you ran the script to enable the firewall, but still shows disabled. So again, these are one of the information we get from WMI calls from Windows telling us that the firewall is disabled. Now, we pull this information periodically. So you might run the script and fix it, but the information on the asset won't necessarily be updated instantly. So it takes a while before it runs again. And there isn't, unfortunately, like a way to force a sync. So you just have to wait till that's updated again next time.
I'll grab one here. A question from Corey: where do we turn off the customer portal temporarily? So this is going to be done in your admin section. That's going to be where I'll start with this really quickly. If we go over to more and then admin, you have the ability here when you're originally setting up Syncro to create multiple different types of customer portal users. So if you go over to your customer section and then you go to your portal user permission groups, in this section here, this is where you have a admin portal user group. Again, you can make as many of these as you want. I think by default, it's going to be the non-portal users group. So once you build these out, you can then choose which contact on a customer per customer level has access to which parts of the customer portal. So if we go over to the customer section, tab over to the contacts, you'll see that not only do you have to enable them as a portal user right in here. So again, that would be a quick way to just say no, disable the portal user. But also if you want to kind of restrict their access to a certain portion that you don't want them to see, you can say, yep, for this specific person, I want them to be part of the limited portal group. So that is probably what I would recommend there.
I'll go ahead and take a couple. Heidi, the timesheet report, it cannot be reviewed and edited. There is a time I can show you really quickly. There is going to be a time clock reporting system. So in the reports, this is just the time clock, and your employees go to clock in and out on their time clock on the top right under their name, but it's not an area that can be edited or reviewed. You can of course choose your different date range there. And Jeremy, I'm really happy you're paying attention to my plugins that are not in the US. I mean, maybe I'm traveling. That's a pretty funny comment. You got a laugh out of me today.
Okay, I have a question for Corey. I think we should like Photoshop a US plug next to that UK plug just to make it even more confusing, Brandy. Corey asks, is there any pre-built scripts for Untangle? Before I answer this question, I actually had to Google what Untangle was. So I don't believe there are any pre-built scripts for that, but please, if you could send a ticket as a feature request and let us know kind of like what functionality you'd like to integrate with Syncro with Untangle, it'd be great to submit that feature request for you.
Thank you, Frank. I have another one here from Aaron. I think this one is going to be one to reach out to the support team, either in the form of a feature request or just kind of to report it. He says, question about the mobile app, incoming tickets generate an alert, but one sent from the taskbar menu. I'm thinking you're saying the system tray icon don't show the asset ID in the mobile app view of the ticket. Is that not working, or is there a setting I have to turn on someplace? The asset is of course part of the ticket on the web, just not in the mobile app. This might be something that our team would need to add, or just kind of take a look at your settings and see why it's not being added the way you're expecting. And then I'll also grab this second question from Carl, also adding a vote for full white label to be prioritized, such as custom domain. I know that the devs have a lot going on. They really do. I do hear a full white label request come through from time to time, and it is important. If it's important to you guys, it's important to us. So I'll definitely pass that along for you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Simon has a question. Is there a way to have the system not automatically create a ticket when an email is sent? And so definitely when you are in the admin section editing your mailboxes, when you edit them, that there's going to be an option to automatically create tickets from emails to this mailbox. And so for that, there is an option for never. And so you can select that so that tickets are not created. Also from leads, there's going to be under ticket settings and preferences, there's going to be create tickets from leads if valid. And so that can also be turned off as well.
Thank you, Anna. We are down to our last two. That's awesome. Chris is asking, is there a central library of custom scripts, event log monitors, etc., created by support or Syncro users shared to all? Where can I find that? So awesome question. This did come up earlier, and we would love to have more things that are like a library. We do currently have a community script library, which is awesome. If you head over into our scripts and then you click on view, there's going to be like 300 in here. So anything you want to use, these have been tested, so you can absolutely use those. In terms of like automated remediations, event log monitoring, things like that that people have created, your best bet currently is to head into the Facebook group or the subreddit. You can search previous posts, and some others have shared. I've seen some pretty neat things people have added to, like a system tray icon, but some best practices. So Facebook or subreddit. But hopefully in the future, we will have something that's more bootstrapped in the account, or a place that you can go to look at each of these things. That's my internal feature request.
I love it. Awesome, awesome. Quick question here. We use MYKI for password management, and I think it's Actioned for backup. Any upcoming integrations, please? So not that I heard of at this time. I know a lot of people ask for a Passportal integration. Honestly, we have been adding so many to the App Center. If you guys haven't taken a look, even in the last week, I think there's maybe 6 new apps that we integrate with. So I would just kind of keep an eye out both on this App Center as well as any of the emails that you guys receive from our marketing team, just because I think we do add more and more. I believe all of these were built from those apps to Syncro, since we do have an open REST API. So a lot of times when you guys are requesting for specific apps to integrate with us, that would be more on their side to prioritize and connect it with us, because it is interesting, and it is a benefit for them to be here in our library as well. So definitely pass it along to those companies, and also reach out to our support team or have them reach out so that they can get connected with the people who are in charge of adding things to the App Center here.
Cool. I have a question from Corey. Can we edit a ticket from the mobile app? I've been able to view only. This is a little trickier because I can't really share my screen on my phone. But yeah, you go to tickets, and then up in the upper right, can I show you? No, probably not. But in the very right, there's like a little page with a check. That guy. If you put that, you'll get a page where you start searching your customer name, and you can create a new customer, choose your ticket workflow, search a customer to make a ticket for an existing customer. So yeah, that can all be done within the app. Sorry, I couldn't share my screen to make that clear, but it's there.
Wow, that was perfect. So we have no more questions. It's 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific for us. We appreciate you all so much for joining us today, and a special thanks to Frank for joining us and helping us with all of the technical questions and the automated remediation deep dive. We hope to see you guys again next week, and I hope everyone has an awesome weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.